All right. Through that introduction, hopefully you gathered that if we've got a triangle, and it doesn't matter what kind of triangle it is, anything that's got three sides and three angles, if you add up all three angles, it's going to be 180 degrees no matter what. You could have any kind of triangle, any kind of three-sided shape, and those angles are going to add up to 180 degrees. And we could prove at any time by just grabbing a protractor and measuring the angles. If you can measure accurate enough, they're all going to add up to 180 degrees. Now we're going to do a few problems where you have to figure out where or what some missing angles are. Okay, so we're going to start out with a really simple one here, and then we're going to involve some of those symbols that we discussed. So if we look here, I've got two angles here on this triangle that are 70 degrees, and I have one that I don't know. A lot of ways that we could do this, but in all of these have to add up to be 180 degrees. So we can go about this a few different ways. I could add these together first and get 140, and then I could see what the difference between 180 and 140 is. If I did 180 minus 140, I would get 40. Okay, so my angle inserted here is going to be 40. I could do a little guess and check. I could try to think what it would be. Something plus 70 plus 70 equals 180. So I get 140 here. What plus 140 equals 180? Well, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180. That's 40 more. So 40 must go there. Okay. It really doesn't matter how you do this. There's a lot of ways to do it, but in the end, whatever you get, that missing angle plus the ones that you have need to equal up to 180 degrees if it's a triangle. All right, here we have a scalene triangle with all the angles would be different here because it's a scalene triangle, and all the sides would be different as well. So you may see our little symbols like this, this, and this. We may have our one arc, or it's kind of tough to draw here, but our two arcs, and then we'd have our three arcs here. But we know that one's going to be different. Okay. So with the missing angle, we could do a few things. We can add together what we have. We have 80, and then I could just take this away from 180 to get what that question mark would be, and it would be 100. I could also, and I'm sure that you guys could probably figure this out, is that if we have question mark plus 80 equals 180, what would I have to have? What plus 80 equals 180? I'm sure most of you can come up with that being 100. No matter the method you use, you need to be able to put this missing angle back into our problem, and it should come out to be 180, and in this case it does. This one, we've actually only got one angle. We've got 80. We don't have the other ones. I just labeled them A and B. If you have one where there's more than one missing, you're just going to have to use some deductive reasoning. You shouldn't have to guess on it. That's not what I'm talking about. But with your knowledge of triangles, you should be able to figure out what the angles are without knowing 2 out of 3. So I'm looking at this and I see that I have two sides on this triangle that are the same. This is an isosceles triangle. I know that if these two sides are the same, even though they don't draw it, this angle is going to be the same as this angle. So I can automatically say, by this being isosceles triangle, these two have to be the same. So I'm going to take out that A and I'm going to make it 80 because I know those are going to be the same. Now we've got a situation where we've got two and we just need to figure out the last one. And we can do it the same way we did all the rest of them. 80 and 80 would be 160. And then we've got our missing one. Now 160 plus what is 180? I know it's 20. If you didn't know that, you could take this 160 and minus it from 180, and we would get 20. Your knowledge of these different kinds of triangles is very important because sometimes, they're not going to tell you what the other ones are. They might just give you one. But this is by far enough information to figure it out. This is going to be interesting too because I put this up here. We don't have any of the angles. We don't know what any of them are. But what we do know is they're all the same, no matter what. They're all the same thing. And we know that the angles of a triangle have to add up to 180 degrees. So there's a lot of ways to do this. We know that all A, B, and C are all going to be equal. They're all going to be the same thing. It's almost like if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. They're all the same thing. That was the transitive property. So in order to do this, we could probably guess and check our way through this. Okay, I could pretend like it's 50, 50, and 50. 50 plus 50 plus 50 would be 150. Not big enough. I could do 55, 55, and 55. What would that even be? That would be 165. Not big enough. 60, 60, and 60. 6 times 3 is 18. Put your 0 on, it's going to be 60. So they're all going to be 60. 60 plus 60 plus 60 is 180. Now, other ways to do this, if we know that all three of these things are basically the same, okay, I can just take 180 and cut it into 3 pieces. 180 divided by 3, 3 goes into 18 6 times. Have your 0. 3 goes into 0 0 times, which gives you 60 also. Again, for this one, they don't give you the angles, but you have knowledge that it adds up to 160 degrees. You also have the knowledge that all the angles are exactly the same. All right, here's another interesting one. We don't have any angles labeled on here, but we've got some knowledge pieces. We know that all the angles of a triangle have to add up to 180 degrees. We know that. Okay, so I just put A plus B plus C equals 180 degrees. A couple things we do know. We know that angle A equals angle B. We know that right here. They don't have the arcs on there, but they wrote it over here, so you can already tell that these are equal. So I can just put those lines in if that helps you out. I know that that is the same thing as that. Okay. Other things we know. Angle C. We've got this little square corner here which indicates a right angle. If you ever see that, automatically it's 90 degrees. So I'm going to take that out. I'm going to insert my 90 degrees. Okay. So now I have something plus 90 equals 180. And we know that this angle is the same as this one. That, same as that. Okay? So we have to have the same thing. So we can go ahead and try things if you want to. Let's say I say 30, 30, 90. Okay? 30 and 30 is 60. 60 plus 90 is 150. Not big enough. 40, 40, and 90. 80 plus 90, 40 and 40 would be 80. 80 plus 90 is 170. Not big enough. 50, 50, 90. 50 and 50 would be 100. 100 plus 90 is 190. Too big. So it's got to be between 40 and 50. Let's go 45. 45 and 45 is 90. 90 plus 90 is 180, so that would work. Another way we could do this, if we didn't know that, is we could take the 90 off of this. Okay, I could do 180 minus 90 and get 90. Okay. Now basically what I have is A plus B equals 90. And we know those have to be the same thing. So I could go ahead and try it again and see. I know it's going to be 45 and 45 equals 90. Or I could take 90 and divide it by 2 because I know those have to be the same thing. So 90 divided by 2 is going to be 45. So we'd have 45 and 45.